Hello and welcome. For the last time here on HeflaTV HP1, the South America Challenge is Union Gaming and Pain Gaming are currently tied 2-2 in the finals. This game is going to decide it all. Who takes home the pretty moderate $750 prize and who takes home the still pretty good but a little bit less good 252nd prize. I'm Grandis V, joined again by Mike Loris as we proceed into this draft and into game number 5.
Even though this series really went the distance, there have been many mistakes on both sides. Like, the first game was just a camp fest over in the mid lane and soon got shut down. The last game that we just saw, Payne made a crucial error and failed in defending their high ground. There's been quite a few mistakes, but hopefully it's game 5 where both teams just get their shit together and we'll have a fantastic ending to what was a pretty great stretch of a tournament. And, well, what more can you hope for, right? This draft is going pretty darn slowly. Union Gaming, Venge, Bat, that's a thing. Juggernaut has been very highly prized. Zeus is also a possibility. Or really, both sides, I'm pretty sure, will be okay with first picking a Beastmaster.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Pain are probably more inclined to pick up the Beastmaster than Union Gaming. But, I mean, we saw last game that Tavo really wasn't able to get off the ground like he was in the first time they played it inside this series. And it was very impressive. He set very high standards with that first Beastmaster performance, but in that previous game, although there were a couple of roars, the ability to actually get kills was very limited, mostly because Pain went for a very slow game. And when you play the slow game and make just one big mistake, it's very easy to slip up. So maybe they're going to look for a more aggressive draft. That could also start off with something like a first pick Alina for soon. Batrider's been banned out, so I don't think we're going to see Venge in these first picks. If it's a support, probably Lion.
Yeah, if you're going to be first picking a support, that is probably what you're going to be going for. Earthshaker is another hero that you would be very happy to first pick, but clearly that's not going to be possible, seeing as though he was the first ban out from the Pain side. Outside of those heroes, I mean, we haven't really been seeing a huge deviation from the norm as far as these games are concerned. Still waiting for these teams to break out the big guns, especially UG, who have been known to run some pretty weird stuff in the past, but it is going to be that Lion first for Pain Gaming. The Lion has been pretty good to both teams, really, but it's a support with a lot of disable. Good amount of damage. You really can't go wrong with trying a template hero like that as your first pick.
No, definitely not. He fits into 90% of the lineups right now, and really good against the meta heroes. And let's see how Union Gamer are going to deal with this. There's no real answer, so to speak, against the Lion, although he can be pretty easily hunted by a lot of different characters. Lion in and of himself is going to offer disable and damage. It's really just straightforward. There's nothing that you need to work around with. Union Gaming, they're pretty open to these first two picks, but as this is the last game of the finals, they're going to take their time with it.
Right, so now do they want to grab a hero first for Benyaz? That Juggernaut is still available. He already played it twice in this best of 5, and it has been working out pretty well for the Union Gaming side. Or do they want to grab a support of their own? I mean, with Lion and Shaker already being banned out, I guess Axe was in those previously banned out spots. So Union Gaming, they're going to bust out a hero that was banned out in all of the previous games, I believe. And we'll try to ride that one to victory.
Well then, this is the first time we've seen Axe in this game. He's been banned a couple, or inside this series, and if I recall, throughout the entire day, he was banned a handful of times, but we haven't seen him first pick for quite a while. Axe still offers an amazing amount of initiation and a solid offlaner with Batrider already banned out. Let's see how Union Gamer are going to be able to utilize him. It is going to put them on an aggressive track, and if they weren't on an aggressive track already, they're going to pick up a Queen of Pain second.
Very similar to their approach in game 1, just trying to get that aggressive play. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to very aggressively sit on Soon again. Maybe not necessarily with that same Mirana play from Z-Talk, but anyone similar who can do that job, who can apply pressure to the mid lane of Pain, might be the plan for Union Gaming. I mean, it was a very similar start to their first game, so I could only assume that they're going to be going for a similar game plan here. Queen of Pain, I mean, for Pain, they could just grab Alina and then just try to have a better run up against that Queen of Pain, as in then the first game. Might be a little bit risky to do so, but I think they probably can get away with it now that Zoom is a little bit warmed up.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to see how the Queen of Pain versus Lena matchup would favor him this time around. If they're not going to go for the Lina, Storm Spirit is also pretty reasonable, although Queen of Pain eventually might build into an Orchid, and Axe Call is pretty good against Storm. It's not uncommon to see him picked up here.
All right, so we could see that hero potentially. I don't think these teams have been first to picking their supports, so most likely Pain are just going to grab one of their core heroes right now. Maybe an initiator for the off lane, but you have the chance then of running into an Axe in lane, and Axe just pretty much eats for breakfast every single offlane hero if it is a 1 versus 1 basis. For Pain, it's most likely just going to be a Zeus support again for King RD. Has played it twice previously in this series and did do a pretty decent job there. So Zeus line, lots of burst damage, great versus the Queen of Pain, just nuke her down, and they have a good amount of disable to follow that up as well.
It does leave their supporting duo pretty squishy, and they might end up having difficulty zoning out the Axe, depending on what that third hero is inside the tri lane. But it looks like Union Gaming also expect this to be a support Zeus, as they'll ban out Soon's Lina. Juggernaut taken away by Pain Gaming. I wouldn't be surprised to see Slark also taken out, but that would leave a lot of support still in the pool for Union Gaming to pick their favorites out of.
Yeah, but Slark is like a hero that you really have to deal with when you're planning on running a support Zeus. And I mean, Lion's very good versus Slark, but answers to the Slark outside of that are limited at best, available to Pain Gaming. So it is also a Benyaz hero, and Benyaz just went off in the last game, so they might be a little bit scared about that. I wouldn't be surprised if they spend this secondary ban phase just targeting Benyaz, but it is the Lina take the hit out. Soon's Lina going to not be seen in this particular game. I mean, at this point, both teams are so familiar with each other and what they actually favor. It's just, I think, just going to be coming down to who can get like a slight edge in the lanes.
Yeah, not even in just this tournament. These teams play against each other all the time, as do most of the South American teams. Pain Gaming going to be most scared of a Storm Spirit coming out from Union. Although they have the Lion for lockdown, it really feels like they are just afraid of these mobile heroes. I think Slark might have been a better ban for Pain Gaming. I think that would be a little bit more likely that Union Gaming pick it up, but regardless, it would have given them initiation supremacy. With Axe, Queen of Pain, and Storm all being able to get the jump, as long as your supports contribute any sort of follow-up when it comes to CC, you're going to be taking 99% of the fights on your own terms, if you get to a good start in the lanes, that is.
And just having a team that is unable to be proactive for Pain is just so hard to play. Like, you want to be looking for stuff, but you really can't, because if you get close, well, there's no guarantee you're going to get close because the enemies will have wards, and then you can't even get close enough because they'll just blink away. It's tough times for Pain if they end up with a draft like that. For Union, though, they're still looking at that initiation supremacy with now an IO to follow up with this Queen of Pain and Axe in the initiation department. It's going to be a really hard game for Pain to be this reactive. Like, you have to prepare for so many things. And the positioning from Union Gaming, they have flexibility enough so that their positioning should always be perfect.
I don't like this Enigma pick for Pain Gaming. I think this is an alright pick for the lanes at the very least, but the playstyle of Enigma is going to be very passive at the early portion, and that's really when I think Pain Gaming have the best chance of abusing the weakness of Union, as right now their heroes are just so good at controlling the tempo of the game if they get off to a good start. If Axe gets a decently timed Blink Dagger, Aya gets 6, Tiny gets a good Axe timing, they'll be very happy throughout the entire game. Enigma Black Hole is a great tool that you can use to turn around some engagements, and very good against Io and most of his partners, Io Tiny included. The combination of having the Black Hole on top of him after they relocate, as well as the Midnight Pulse. But still, I'm not sure if I like the playstyle that it's going to harbor. Slark is going to next pick up for Pain, and a reasonable pick it is too.
You know, just looking at these drafts, I think I would. It's kind of weird to see if you switch the team names. I think these drafts would make a lot more sense. It seems like both teams playing each other's draft right now, but that's fine right now. Well, Slark is gonna go into a draft that has quite a few answers to that Slark already. Like, Axe can keep the Slark there even through that Shadow Dance. Queen of Pain burst certainly goes through the Slark, as does Tiny's burst. If you get an Avalanche Toss on Slark, he's just gonna die. So, I mean, Pain, they're picking up good heroes and everything, but they're just not really good up against what Union Gaming have. If UG don't get completely smashed in the lanes, then they're going to have a pretty substantial advantage just based off of these heroes.
But then again, Pain Gaming do have the ability to potentially smash them in the lanes because their heroes are pretty good just in a vacuum. So we'll just have to see if their sort of jumbled up draft is going to end up working against Union Gaming. Magnus, the last ban coming out from UG, is going to be a pretty good one. They looks like they are lacking that off lane role, and it also looks like they'll be needing some sort of extra way to jump. The Magnus would have fit pretty nicely. The Zeus is going to be bumped into the mid position, however. What do you think the chances are that King RD keeps on playing the support Zeus? They throw the Enigma towards the offlane and now pick up Soon's hero.
That's actually pretty reasonable. Like the lane is going to be the best for Enigma. Offlane Enigma versus any of these lane combinations from Union, literally any of them is not going to have a great time. But then again, like you're probably not gonna have a good time on any other hero anyway, just because Union Gaming have so many aggressive styles that they could run these lanes. I'm probably feeling a defensive tri-lane, Tiny Io as well as Scarith Mage, and I mean that would be an okay way to go, I suppose. But they could just as easily grab a Witch Doctor and they will be happy with that. Though King RD has been playing the Zeus, there's no rule that says he can't play anything else, and Soon is going to take up the Zeus and most likely run up against the Queen of Pain in mid. Witch Doctor is a great hero when you're going up against an IO Tiny. Not in the sustain department, but in the I'm just going to chain stun you and you can't do anything about it department.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique mechanic. Paralyzing Cask and IO Tiny are going to be together for the majority of this game, or at least they very well should be. We actually have a stand-in for Union Gaming now, presumably on their mid lane role, or at least what might be their mid lane role. I have no idea how these lanes are going to end up shaking down. They could just dual lane the IO Tiny safe lane farm the Quap.
It's the same person.
It's the same person, and he's just changed his name.
What the hell? What is with this guy?
Please don't. Okay, so inside the game earlier, I saw him change his name inside the lobby, and it is not Dallin inside the lobby.
I have no idea. Whoa, my game just crashed. Okay.
Okay, while Mike is sorting that out, I'll go ahead and introduce our teams, as that's pretty easy to do. We'll have Tavo on the Enigma, starting out with a decent amount of regen. Baga's going to be playing on the Lion. King RD on the Witch Doctor, Soon on the Zeus, and Slark going to be played by ADR. It is going to be an offlane Enigma after all for Pain, although their hero assignments are going to be a little bit different. For the Union Gaming side, on the Dire side of the map, Benya is going to be playing on the Tiny, supported by Ztok on the Io. Queen of Pain going to be farmed by Queen of Pain. My goodness, I'm not going to keep up with your names. Dallin is what he's tagged up with now. Scarith Mage going to be played by Nightmare, and Nando on the Axe.
I don't even know how that guy is changing his name that often. I thought there were like rules in place that you can only change your name like every couple of days or something like that. I've never really tried, but I thought that was a thing. Clearly he's just breaking all the rules though.
Okay, so official names can only be changed every 2 weeks, but apparently he has no official name. Inside the game, I see his name as @Dallin, and well, inside the scoreboard, I see it as Nanatsu no Tazai. Even though I'm completely butchering that, either way, it's I don't know. It's ridiculous. We'll just stick with it. We'll roll with the punches, and let's see who gets these bounty runes.
Alright guys, this is of course the last game of the SA challenge for right now. It looks like Soon is going to be grabbing the bounty rune, or at least ideally he will be grabbing the bounty rune for Pain, getting himself off to a faster bottle in the future. He's actually going up against a dual lane IO Tiny. It's not too rare to see IO Tiny being laned in the mid lane. I mean, that's not too weird, but up against Zeus, though the kill potential certainly is there on Soon. Soon's Arc Lightning is going to get some pretty serious value, not only helping him last hit, but also chipping down all of these heroes. So this Zeus should be more or less okay, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so too. The arc lightning range is so large that, we're going to see a jump as they catch out both Nando and Nightmare, getting a couple of cast bounces. The damage isn't enough in order to get that kill. But yeah, the Zeus should be completely fine. An Avalanche is going to connect, but Soon is going to be no worse for wear. Bottom lane is a hot pot for aggression, as if ADR lands a pounce, there is just a lot of disable to follow that up, and a decent amount of damage too.
And Nando, he's going to be taking chip damage all the while. Two heroes with nice range from Pain, and of course that Slark, who's probably going to avoid the axe like the plague. But the Lion chipping away at the enemies, and or the Witch Doctor doing the same, and the axe is going to be under a little bit of pressure. But speaking of pressure, Tavo is going to take that Enigma up towards the top lane, and with a whole bunch of lane shuffles in the third and final game, Tavo Enigma versus the Queen of Pain. I don't know if there's any way for an Enigma to win this lane. It's just so grossly in favor of Dalen.
Yeah, very much. Damage, the animation, pretty much everything. Although he can summon Eidolons, and that might be annoying. Queen of Pain's one of the heroes that has a decent way to clear out those Eidolons with the Scream of Pain, especially once it gets leveled. And he's going to potentially die here. Tavo's dropping low, and there's nobody here to deny him. He's dead. That's first blood drawn by the Queen of Pain as the Scarlet Mage is dropping low down towards bottom. ADR gets that kill in turn as they chase forward for Baga. Is Nando going to get a couple of lucky spins? The Lion's too far away, and now Nando's going to be forced to go on the run. But yeah, if the lane wasn't bad enough already for Tavo, it's absolutely terrible now. Honestly, I think at this point you just throw the Enigma towards the jungle. Even though that concedes a lane to the Queen of Pain, it's better than dying again.
Yeah, the Enigma can't really contest the Queen of Pain's farm anyway. At least for Pain, they get a kill in the bottom lane, and at least it's going towards the Slark. Probably going to be a Hand of Midas build for ADR, considering that initial advantage. He's also farming very comfortably as well, and he's probably going to need that accelerated farm up against such a powerful hero like a farmed Queen of Pain. But yeah, that's only going to provide them so much value, and it's not going to be until the later stage of the game where the value is really going to come clear. Whereas for the Queen of Pain, getting early kills is going to snowball you very heavily. We saw it in the first game actually, where the same player was playing Queen of Pain, got off to an amazing start, and then just went off. Down towards bottom though, spike onto 2, and Nightmare is actually going to get caught with the pounce, and that's going to be a pretty easy kill on the Scarlet Mage. Axe can't really do anything up against that.
It was a pretty awkward spot for the Witch Doctor to be caught out in, but the Earth Spike landing onto 2, the Paralyzing Cask bouncing forward, and ADR landing that pounce. It really doesn't get much better when it comes to the CC combo from the Pain Gaming side. It's going to be a nice pickoff for them, and it's going to hurt the bottom lane a little bit. But even so, Nando has the ability to go back into the jungle at any time, so even if bottom lane is really terrible, they'll still be able to soak experience, maybe pull off the creep aggro with Nightmare's Arcane Bolts, and just move on from there. It looks like he wants to farm up his Blink Dagger in the woods.
That's completely fine as well. Nightmare probably won't get much going on this bottom lane, maybe a little bit of experience, but really he's not needed anywhere else. Mid lane is being dominated by this IO Tiny combo. Zeus struggling to find his last hits there, and top lane's being dominated by the Queen of Pain, so you might as well just stick in the bottom lane as a Scarlet Mage. Try not to die for sure, but just take some experience, leech it where you can get it. I'm actually kind of surprised that Benyaz and Ztalk are doing this well in the mid lane. They're doubling up the Zeus's CS easily, and soon really should not be letting that happen. He does have a lot of mana. He's spamming out that Arc Lightning. Might actually get a kill on Ztalk. Arc Bolt. Yeah, I don't really know what the plan was there for Io, but soon had a pretty much full mana pool.
That completely changes the dynamic inside the mid lane. Now Zeus is almost at level 6, and whenever he has a full mana pool, he can very easily burst down the Aya. Bounty Rune going to be picked up by Nightmare. He cancels the Clarity too, some value there from the Skywrath Mage. But what once was a dominated lane by the Tiny, since he is doubling up, the Zeus is now not so much. The Tiny is not sitting at the same level as the Zeus, in fact, far from it. It's going to be a 2-level disadvantage. Skywrath Mage making his way up towards top. Concussive Shot is going to be fogged out by Tavo, but eventually he's going to be connected with it. Now Silence up, nothing the Enigma can do. He turns, trying to kill off Nightmare with the Eidolon Army, is going to drop him to 70 HP, but it doesn't change a thing. He goes down just the same, losing his life twice in this offlane. It's just not working.
Yeah, so the way Enigma offlane is supposed to work is you primarily focus your attention on your Eidolons. Ooh, Thunder God's Wrath though, that's up. And Scarlet Mage is going to be the first one to know about it. And they're also going to go towards Benyaz, though Avalanche Toss combo is there, and they'll kill off the Witch Doctor in a hurry. Soon is looking at potentially a double kill if only he had more mana.
And he doesn't, now getting punched down by the IO body, or by the Tiny body block by the IO toss long range, and that'll snag him. Oh, very aggressive move coming out from the Zeus, feeling him vulnerable with that haste rune. He's going to be brought down back to earth by Benyaz on the Tiny. 1-0-1. He's having a pretty good time for himself inside this mid lane, especially since he has the full magic wand. The burst damage coming out from the Zeus isn't going to sting as much when every time you do get an extra charge.
But yeah, as I was saying about this Enigma, the primary focus is to get denies out, very similar to Lich offlane, which used to be a thing, not as much anymore. You basically just try to slow down the opponents as much as possible, but that's not really possible when Queen of Pain is dominating you that hard, and when you use the Eidolons to get a couple of last hits, the Queen of Pain can clear those out really easily. So this offlane Enigma is just not the right lane assignment for him. He needs to leave.
Yeah, I think so too. He's going to get level 6, and he's still getting experience at a decent rate, even after dying twice. And maybe that's what he's been waiting for all this time. Benyaz in mid lane, ooh, very close to dying. However, Thunder God's Wrath is not up for another 17 seconds, so he is going to be saved because of that. And with a little healing help from the Aya, is going to be back up at an operable amount of HP and mana to where he can farm up the stack.
It's only a double right now, though, for Benyaz as well as Ztalk, so not a ton of gold going their way, but down towards bottom, they're actually getting a lot of experience on this Gareth Mage. This lane getting a little bit out of control for Pain. Looks like King RD a little bit slacking on those pulls perhaps, but a couple of waves of experience, and Scareth Mage, the off-lane Scareth Mage is level 4 right now. It's not really super impressive, but considering his start, considering his dying 3 times in this game, it's not doing too terribly. 4-4 is the score right now, and Tavo has decided to make his rotation into the enemy, into his own jungle rather. I guess Nando similarly has done that, but this is going to leave a couple of free lanes for the Queen of Pain, the Slark, and well, still the Tiny is almost doubling up the Zeus in mid.
Even though they lose lane control and give a lot of experience to the Scareth Mage, it'll translate into a tower push as ADR gets that tower destruction in bottom lane, and now the lane really isn't safe for the Scareth to sit around in. But since he does have level 4, which is more than most Scareths at this point can hope for, if they're just sitting as a lane babysitter, they can maybe look for some kills. Also, crucially, they're getting very close to level 6 on Z-Talk once they have that relocate available. The power of even an IO or a tiny combination at this point should be enough for them to be able to set up, especially on people like the Lion, who gets blown to shreds by the Queen of Pain. At this point, nobody can safely go up to top alone.
Yeah, Sonic Wave, Blink, Scream of Pain. It's not exactly the combo that you would really think about going every single time. You really got to read the situation perfectly to make that jump, but she did. She's now 3-0-0, and with the Robot Magi, oh, they're actually going to initiate over in mid. A 2-man avalanche. They're going to bring them both into Nando's axe. Oh, man.
Chop chop, and now Baga also going to be at the receiving end of the Culling Blade. Triple kill for Nando, and they might make it 4 if they can kill off ADR. He's not taking very much damage, however, he's dropping too low to be comfortable for this chase. The axe, unfortunately, is not anywhere close by, and the follow-up isn't there, but still a big win for Union Gaming as Pain come one by one. Buyback on the Witch Doctor really doesn't do much of anything, and get chopped down just as quickly. As an axe, that's pretty much the dream scenario. Hey, a hero with low HP, chop, and then just another one comes by straight on the block, and Union Gaming are going to come away with a lot of gold. Suddenly, Nando almost blink.
And suddenly, UG are doubling up Pain's kill scores. Axe got a huge infusion of gold from that series of events. I mean, Pain, they're still doing pretty darn well on ADR, is actually leading the way in net worth, which is actually pretty surprising considering how many kills UG have been getting on their other core heroes. But it's only the Slark to actually have a good time. That was just an absolute bloodbath as the Tiny's AoE combo of Avalanche Toss connected onto 2 heroes, and that's just not supposed to happen. One person gets 100-0'd. Yeah, it's unavoidable. You kind of just have to deal with it. But 2 people getting stunned by a level 4 Avalanche, that's just not a good start to a fight, any fight. And if you get hit by that, you're probably going to lose any subsequent fight. Maybe not by that much, but man, Pain, they just weren't able to disengage or actually engage properly once that avalanche landed.
For sure. The Tiny is pretty low right now and might be at some threat of dying if Zeus had any form of backup, but Soon is forced to play very defensively throughout this entire game, but he still has level 8 and the potential for burst damage to kill off these squishier heroes. The IO and Scareth Mage in particular is very high. I was actually going to ferry him out a pretty late salve here. Looks like he just wants to juice up the Tiny a bit.
Alright, so having Tiny at full health is maybe going to help him go for another kill over in mid. There's only Soon to actually kill off right now, so I don't really think that's going to be happening. But Nando does have his Blink Dagger, so with the Blink Dagger on the axe, then kills are certainly very possible pretty much anywhere. And Nando's going to join up with Nightmare. They have smoke. Will they decide to use it? Yes. Second question, where will they go? They want to go for ADR, but he's a very difficult kill target. Actually, no, he's not with Mystic Flare. They could very easily kill him off. Never mind.
Queen of Pain, in the meantime, finds herself a free Enigma, spotted out by this Observer Ward, blown to shreds by her full burst combination, gets it solo, and easy peasy it was too, with the Lion just not close enough by Nando. The smoke has not popped yet. They'll look for the Slark. He's away from the creep wave, and at the moment, ADR, it looks like he smells something's awry. They haven't seen the axe for some time. After getting a triple kill, it's not unexpected for him to get the blink. He does not want to show his face to this creep wave yet, but if he does, he'll be at an innate amount of trouble. With Power Treads Achilles, about 1,000 HP, but that gets munched through so very quickly, as I've already mentioned, with the Mystic Flare and all of the damage coming out from Newton Gaming. Nando and Nightmare are playing patiently for the time being, but then again, so is ADR.
Yeah, that series of kills for the axe is a pretty large tell to Pain. He was probably very close to his Blink Dagger already, being in the jungle for such a long time, but if you don't have your Blink Dagger after that many kills, man, you're doing something seriously wrong. So ADR working kind of blind right now, but he will get paid off, playing safe, and now he's going to see... Oh no, he doesn't axe! Gave his Blink Dagger to the Skywrath Mage. Oh man, some next level sneakiness. Is this going to work though?
Okay, so now Nando's going to back off, get his Blink Dagger from the sky. There's no lane ward to spot this out. And now the Slark is going to feel comfortable farming in the creep wave. Alrighty, so they might just be next leveling the Slark here. In the meantime, there's some other lanes going on, but they're not as interesting. Lion gets a tower deny up towards top, but the big question is who's going to die down towards bottom, because I think somebody will. Axe is going to find himself a Witch Doctor. The Slark is nearby. Blink in, call under the tower. They're bringing in the IO Tiny combination with the Mystic Flare. Chop, he's down. They'll be able to pounce up Nightmare. Nightmare dropping low with the Zeus ultimate. They will be able to kill him off, but the Avalanche is going to connect onto ADR. ADR not out of the woods yet, tossing in the axe like a hand grenade into the chop. Double kill for Nando, and a mega kill spree too. Soon's going to be able to drop a bold, but there's another call under tower. Nando going ballsy into the Zeus, but is going to die to the tower, ending up paying the Piper for his aggression. 2-3 is the end result of that exchange. Not as good as Union Gaming would have wanted.
Yeah, looks like Io. Oh, my bad. Looks like Io got yanked right back into an Enigma, and that's never really where you want to be. I don't know if anyone else was there. Maybe Baga, looking like he's kind of low on mana, but still 7-11. UG kill off the Slark, and being one of the most farmed heroes in the game, you do want to take him down. They get away with their Tiny as well, and now he's very quickly closing onto his Aghanim Scepter, but definitely not the cleanest, especially them leaving the Axe back there to die. Kind of an awkward situation. Though the Blink Dagger move by the Axe and Scarth Mage was smooth, the fact that you could buy Blink Dagger from the side shop really didn't help out UG that much. Like, if you back off, the creep wave was in a position so that Pain were assuming, okay, Axe doesn't have his Blink Dagger yet, he's just going to buy it at the side shop and then he's going to use it. And they were pretty much right in that assumption.
Yeah, if there was a different change where Blink Dagger couldn't be bought at the side shop, then maybe that would have worked out. Smoke from Nando and Nightmare again. Looks like they're going to try to be partners in crime. Let's see if they can get away with it. Right now, the heroes that are closest are Tavo and King RD. If they get caught out with all the Eidolons and an Axe, that could go disastrously for them. But for the time being, the smoke isn't going to pop, and, well, it's just going to dissipate naturally. Queen of Pain has farmed up an Orchid, currently inside the base. Union Gaming have a lot of tools that they can use to play aggressively, but for the time being, things have slowed down a smidge.
Well, really, they don't even need to blink into a whole bunch of units with this Axe in order to get kills. As long as he's partnered up with the Scarth Mage, even though it's only a level 6 hero right now, he still has that Mystic Flare and a level 2 Seal. I mean, that helps as well. So being able to hold someone in for 2.4 seconds and then deliver with that Seal, which lasts, hey, look at that, for 2.4 seconds, is going to get you some easy kills. ADR, though, stalking, and he's going to find a snipe onto Z-Talk. Avalanche toss, Z-Talk's still alive, but that was a 100-0 combo on the Slark, and that trade is probably not one that Pain is too happy to make.
Yeah, Benyaz ends up getting his Aghanim Scepter delivered in the middle of that. Even though he loses his best friend in the world, he's going to be back up shortly, and the Slark, although that Shadow Blade is nice and all to get pickoffs, I believe that's the first showing of the Shadow Blade actually in action. From here on out, Sentry should be purchased by Union Gaming pretty liberally, and although this is going to bankrupt the poor Skyrath Mage, they have ways that they can keep themselves safe from it. The Slark is going to lose a lot of momentum. Oh, Lion going to stun up. Ben has, is he going to completely outplay the Tiny? It looks like he will with the Hex and a little bit more damage. He's going to get the kill, not these little Vul Assassins, although they tried their darndest. Baga, can he get out alive? Blink forward by Nando, has another blink shortly, but it looks like Baga is going to be able to juke through the woods, although he has no TP. I don't think there's really any good way of getting out of this for the Lion.
You run and hope you don't run into a Queen of Pain. And so far, it doesn't look too good for him. He has no mana to cast anything, and Dalen's just farming, and suddenly, oh wait, look, Baga's here. Dagger, Scream, Orchid should do the deal, if not for the Scream, unless Hellbear. Now, Dalen was saving the Scream of Pain to get both the Hellbear kill and the Lion kill, so Lion does not escape after all.
Max efficiency. Man, those neutrals, they tried their hardest, but it just wasn't enough. Queen of Pain now going to be working presumably towards a BKB, but honestly, an Aghanim Scepter wouldn't be too bad either. For Dalen, it's up to him which one he wants to go for. Either way, he's going to tank up a bit. ADR has the Shadow Blade activated, looking for a snipe maybe on the Scarth Mage, but Nightmare is under his tower. He's going to eat through a tree and find himself a little hidey hole. He has the Shadow Blade coming up from cooldown in 8 seconds. This Slark has been playing really actively, especially for how passively he was farming very early on. I'm not sure if this is really benefiting ADR, though.
Well, I mean, when you go for the Shadow Blade, it's more of like a stylistic and team-oriented choice. He's going to miss the jump in on Nightmare, and suddenly a million heroes with the Mystic Flare. ADR going to Shadow Dance away. No, that's actually not going to last very long. He'll be brought down in the end, and he just wasn't patient enough, I think. He had to scout the area a little bit more to figure out who he was actually jumping into. And Scarth Mage gets to live and gets to turn things around for a kill for the team.
Yeah, in the end, the Slark, those last two jumps with the Shadow Blade haven't paid off for him. He would have been a lot better off just farming. It's not something that you can know when you pick up the item, but if he went Midas and just farmed up, I am tempted to say it'd be in a much better situation. The momentum that he had is now almost completely gone. The rest of his team also isn't farming up that great either. He's really the only one that's keeping up. And really not keeping up that well either, since the Queen of Pain and the Tiny are just farming that much quicker. With the Scream of Pain to shove out waves, Dallon's able to farm up better than the Slark, and well, Tiny has Aghanims. That's like the farming item on Tiny, and with the IO behind him, he can join fights whenever he wants to. Down towards the bottom, he'll find a line, chop him down very easily. Now ADR is joining the fray. He gets spun once, but still inside Invis. Queen of Pain going to bump into the Witch Doctor in a whole heap of trouble. King RD going to get called out of this as ADR tries to jump on a Dallon, but the damage just isn't there. With the Sonic Wave, they'll turn this around. The Zeus ultimate isn't enough damage as Queen of Pain blinks out towards the right. She'll be able to get out of there alive as the Black Hole is going to get it onto the Tiny. The IO's still out of it, however. Tabo's taking way too much damage. Looks like it's going to be a full 5-man wipe as they spin him down and, well, kill him off. Just like that, double kill for Benyaz, and he's going to go back to farming 1 for 5. Although they do lose their Queen of Pain eventually, completely worth it.
Yeah, Queen of Pain just trying to be a little bit too baller in that fight. Sticking around at no HP, sometimes a good idea, sometimes it's not. This is just one of those times where it wasn't. Yet still, Benyaz cleans house, gets his Aghanim Scepter value. Axe, with his Blink Dagger, has been doing some serious work for the UG side, and they come away with a huge net worth advantage right now. I actually think the Shadow Blade on Slark is the correct item right now, because if you look at their draft, there's no way to take it in the late game, so trying to angle towards that in any way, shape, or form is the wrong idea. They have to end the game early, but 18 minutes in and you're 9 kills behind, you're not really in a great position to even look to end the game at all. Like, the tier 1s still stand on mid and top, so this Slark needs to be getting some pretty serious killing going on, because especially after that last fight, UG, they're just working with so much momentum right now. They have BKB in the works, almost completed for this Queen of Pain, and even if they don't go for anything aggressive in the next 5-10 minutes, they'll be completely fine because their Tiny is going to be out farming absolutely everyone.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right now. Pain Gaming, they're the ones that are supposed to have the kill lead. They're the ones that are supposed to have the momentum, but Union Gaming are doing it with a draft that has better late game, and I think a lot of this is down to their picks. I think just the amount of pressure you're able to apply with Tiny, Queen of Pain, and Axe is pretty ridiculous, especially when you have the IO to bring the Tiny anywhere on the map. They currently maintain complete control of their jungle. They'll find a call. Poor King RD is going to get chopped down after the Mystic Flare, and that's going to be a killing spree for Nando. The Scarlet Mage and Axe combination is just so sick. When you can find supports out alone, there's no way that they can live.
Mid, Benyaz getting into a man fight with Lion. Avalanche, Toss will get that kill, and Io is running circles around ADR with the haste. This is really just Pain struggling to kill off a single hero. They'll kill the Tiny, but it wasn't even for free, and it really should have. That was a 4v2. Like, that shouldn't have been that hard.
In the end, they do get the Tiny, however, and it's still worth it. They only lose their 2 supports for that pickoff, at least in a vacuum. Tier 1 tower in mid, however, is going to end up getting dropped down, as there's not really much left in the tank for Pain Gaming to look for this fight as they were forced to commit the Shadow Dance for the Slark and the Zeus ultimate. Enigma's Black Hole isn't back up yet after the fight inside the Radiant jungle, and the map control is still falling around Pain Gaming, even though they kill off the highest farmed hero, or formerly highest farmed hero. Oh, Nando is going to drop very low with the Witch Doctor ultimate. They'll be able to kill him off. Malefice getting a lot of value there. They're going to Orchid up the Slark, and with that Orchid, I don't think he can pursue for any more, even though it doesn't really do much in the grand scheme of things. Union Gaming are going to lose a little bit of their momentum with this, but I think they're still in an alright spot. Pain have found a foothold, though.
Yeah, maybe Pain can get a tower off of this as well, though Tiny being alive, Io still being alive, and Queen of Pain packing that level 2 Sonic Wave means that if UG really want to force a fight right now and hold on to their tier 1, which they shouldn't, they should let this one fall, then they probably will be able to fight it out. Like, there's no Black Hole on the Enigma, though it will be coming up very shortly. This tower is not under a super amount of pressure. It's just really Tabo's Enigma to be applying pressure, and it just doesn't seem like this Enigma, especially going towards the off lane, is really working out. This Enigma pretty much has what you would expect from an Enigma jungle, and then you're also working with the Lion and Witch Doctor on your side, which are good heroes, but at this point you would need something that's a little bit more hard-hitting, a little bit more damage-oriented than 2 additional supports. It almost seems like Pain have 3 supports at this point in time. So UG are working with a large damage advantage, and they're just slowly pushing in all of these lanes after having held their tier 1 tower even. They don't even lose that.
Queen of Pain waiting in the wings over in the sidelines, itching to blink into this creep wave. If anybody as much as shows their face, but not going to happen. She'll just blink in, scream. She's currently alone, but there's no opening for Pain. Their initiation at this moment is very limited. The Blink Dagger is out on the Enigma, but opening up with the Blink Black Hole only out of the Queen of Pain is not something that they really want to, because the kill is by no means guaranteed either, especially if she gets the BKB off before the Black Hole, even though the Queen of Pain isn't going to stop the disable from the Black Hole. The damage that Pain are currently working with is the majority of it's magical, and well, the magic damage into Baga is going to be immense. Dallin is going to pop the BKB, chop in from the axe. Black Hole's going to be committed, but cancelled by a silence. Blink away from Dallin. He's going to try to TP out, and he's going to succeed in that with the BKB still activated over in the sidelines. ADR is going to be focusing down Nando, but he's TPing out too. Witch Doctor Deathward's pretty good. Onto the IO especially, as the IO is going to drop down. Ben has getting dropped. He's going to end up tossing ADR into the air, but it doesn't matter. The sustain is there to keep him alive. Union Gaming lose their IO tiny. If it weren't for that, it would have been a good trade, but in the end, it turns out being nice. Very nice, too, for Pain.
Yeah, Slark gets a lot of net worth off of that. Awkward initiation, really, from the UG side. Axe blinks in for a call, doesn't really get his call off. And Queen of Pain, I don't really think she was expecting to start a large-scale team fight there. But when you blink in, try to assassinate one hero, and then you ultimately get the entire team, you're either going to have to sacrifice your Queen of Pain or start a less than ideal fight. And for UG, they chose the latter. Didn't really work out great for them, though. Queen of Pain, even though she made that mistake, is going to survive because that's sometimes just how the world works. It's still 15-23, and UG are still holding on to a substantial advantage right now. Even though it's a victory for Pain, I don't know if it's victory enough for them to be considered back into even footing in this game, let alone in a position where they could look to actually go aggressive. Without the Black Hole, really, there's no chance for them to even think about going towards the enemy base.
There's a little bit of a discussion in chat about who this Queen of Pain is. I assure you it's the same player that has been playing in all 5 of these games, but he has a bit of an identity crisis. He doesn't know what he wants to be called, so who knows. Apparently he is the official 5th player for Union Gaming, however. At the moment, Union Gaming are going to start falling back a little bit, although the potential for them to take fights is still really good, especially now that they don't have to deal with the Black Hole for 100 seconds. If they take the fight as a team, things will be looking pretty nice for them. That fight down towards bottom probably doesn't count, as IO Tiny went deep behind enemy lines, kind of starting 2v4, 2v5 engagements instead of one cohesive fight.
And it did show the strength of the Witch Doctor. Just by himself, he locked them down and pretty much killed them off. Or, I mean, disabled them from the fight, which is sometimes just as good as killing them off. It looks like UG are angling towards a Roshan pit fight right now, and this is the time to do it, if ever there was a time, just because Enigma's Black Hole is down. Their sustain in this Roshan pit, though, isn't really that high. Like, they have an IO with an empty bottle. I mean, it's going to be full soon, but they have an IO, and that's about it. They have no lifesteal. I guess they have some sustain because Axe is just naturally tanky, but they really want this Roshan, but it's not going to be easy for them to actually claim it because they'll be getting hit pretty hard by this, and now they're spotted perfectly by some random Eidolon that walks on by. So Pain, if they want to, they could decide to fight it, although I don't really think they should.
In the meantime, ADR are going to get a tier 1 tower up towards top, and it looks like they're going to decide against taking this engagement. Queen of Pain will push out the wave down towards bottom, but they're coming in, they're smoked up, and they want to fight. Baga going to go in alone. The BKB from Beniaz was not showing off, and he's going to start fighting. Cleave over into Witch Doctor, end the line for just one hit as the fight's breaking out in the backlines with Queen of Pain jumping in, trying to focus down Baga and Tabo. Tabo dropping low, Tabo down. Dallin is still surviving, blinks away as he joins the rest of his fight, going to kill off the lion with a scream. Blink call going to miss, coming out from Nando as they turn for a paralyzing cask, but even with that cask, it's not going to save him. He gets tossed up in the air and brought down. ADR is going to be orchided, but that's not going to stop much of anything. He has a pounce, but no TP for 20 seconds. He also has his ultimate. They'll have to spend a long time to chase ADR. He's going to be tossed up in the air. He purges that off, but the damage is still pretty immense. He's going to end up chasing down towards the south. The scream connects. ADR still running, going to be earned up. He is very darn fast. Another toss, not enough damage. He's going to pounce again in a ridiculous chase, but one more blink and 2 more auto attacks from the Queen of Pain is going to secure his demise in a 0 for 4 as Pain Gaming get, I don't know, pretty much wiped.
Yeah, it was an awkward exchange to start things out. The Tiny uses his first uses of BKB. Doesn't actually have a chance to hit many people because Pain very cleanly disengaged from that one. Slark was trying to go for the Scarith Maid, but got silenced and was forced to fall back. Queen of Pain really started and ended that fight with a 2-man Sonic Wave, picked off a couple heroes in the Radiant jungle, while the rest of UG were kind of awkwardly standing near the Roshan pit. and then it just cascaded on from there. Starting things off, 2 kills in the lead for UG. Actually, 1 kill in the lead, I guess, because Nightmare was brought down. Is perfectly reasonable for them. And Queen of Pain, she got a ton of cash from that. Now it's 2,900 Gs after that BKB purchase. She's holding on to an ultimate orb. I can only assume this is going to turn to a sheepstick, but we have another fight brewing as they relocate in towards the Lion. I don't think Baga's going to survive this one.
No. The chances that he survives that are slim to none, and probably closer to none. Axe going to end up getting the last hit. I think that was pretty much the only question. After the fact, Union Gaming can't probably get much off of that single Lion pick, but since they have the Aegis, they might as well look for a fight anyway, or at the very least for a push. They have that fresh Scythe of Bicep for the Queen of Pain, and really things are still looking pretty good for them, mostly due to draft. Their advantage was pared down a little bit after a couple of sketchy engagements, but now back up to about 10,000 net worth and 10,000 experience.
And right now, UG, they could look towards the bottom lane tier 2 or the top lane tier 2, really. Should be a pretty easy pickup for them. And if they don't want to do that, still they could just sit back and chill. Give the IO and Tiny a little bit of space in top lane or something like that, and then just wait for relocation down towards bottom. Or they could just assemble everyone except the Queen of Pain and push bottom. That's not really the play I would make, but Dalen can push this one out pretty comfortably. He's just daring Pain to make some sort of jump towards the Queen of Pain, because this Queen of Pain doesn't care. As long as she gets her BKB off, she'll be A-okay, and the rest of the team is bulldozing down a tier 2 tower. UG, they're going to strangle Pain out of resources, and it's leading to a greater and greater advantage for the Dire side that Pain are going to struggle to come back from unless Tavo lands a Miracle Black Hole. It's starting to come to that territory.
Yeah, it's not quite there, but it's getting there. Benya's going to start chipping away at this tier 3 tower, chunking away at it. It's probably a better way to put it. It's going to be dropped pretty low. Tosses a creep over to the Zeus in the end. The Enigma is going to come over. The Midnight Pulse is doing quite a bit of damage to the Tiny, but he has 17 stick charges, a BKB, an Aegis, and an IO behind him is currently earning up to give Benyaz a little bit more juice. Union Gaming are currently with their 5-man lineup, but then again, so is Pain, and with the Witch Doctor Aghanim Scepter up that is not shown to Union Gaming, this could be a miraculous fight for them. If the Black Hole can X onto 3 and it isn't cancelled, a similar story for the Witch Doctor Deathward, this could go very south.
Well, Benyaz, Dalen's actually going to jump in for a Sonic Wave through 3. Oh my god, that's some way to start the fight. And yeah, Pain is just on the run from just the Queen of Pain.
The Witch Doctor focused down. They know the Aghanim Scepter is there, and in the meantime, the Tiny just keeps on chunking away at this building. Melee barracks down, and he's just going to pop the BKB and secure it. He's going to get it. There's nothing they can do to stop him, and oh, there's even a craggy proc on ADR as he tries to use the Shadow Blade attack. Everybody else trying to make it out alive. The Pounce is going to connect onto the Tiny, but there's a team behind him, and Union Gaming, they're the first ones to strike. 30 minutes in, or 29 minutes in rather, they're going to get one melee barracks, and sooner rather than later, range is going to fall soon after. They're still tier 2s, they can't stick around, but even though they don't take a big scale fight with the Aegis, it gets what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that was more or less a fight that Pain couldn't fight. Or, I guess that doesn't make sense. That was an engagement that Pain couldn't afford to fight because Dalen opened that up in such a strong way. Blink forward into Sonic Wave onto pretty much everyone, and yeah, when you're down 400, 500 HP, before the fight even gets started, you're not going to look to continue that fight, especially since by the Queen of Pain blinking in, that positions UG in such a way that they're not really vulnerable to a giant black hole. So the dream is dead from there on out. They'll catch Nando, and I guess that's something for Pain. But yeah, they're down 1 melee Rax, and it's still pretty early on in this game.
Their wave clear is also pretty limited. They can keep it out for sure, but I'm not sure how long they'll be able to keep that up. Enigma's going to be working towards this black hole. There's going to be a Scythe on a creep, an Orchid on a creep, and Queen of Pain blinks out and TP's out. Yeah, no idea what the item usages were for, but in the end, she's safe just the same.
Alright, well, it's just the axe down for right now. Still UG have this Aegis, although it's not going to last for much longer. Benyaz is looking to grab the AC. Actually grabs the completed AC. Wow. Didn't see the courier in the secret shop. I only assumed that he had the armor items that I saw in the stash, but no, he has the whole item completed. Tier 2 is still surviving in the mid and top lanes. But now with the Assault Cuirass minus armor from the Tiny, not to mention the fact that he's doing 300 damage a pop, these towers are not really going to last that long. If Pain find an opening, though, with the black hole, doesn't really matter where you defend. As long as you catch that black hole and actually let it ride, then Pain will be more than happy to take that fight. But they have to split their attention between the side lanes, or the bottom lane, and the other 2 lanes. And they really just don't have enough to take a fight without their full 5-man team.
Okay, so I'll draw attention to Io's items. I think there's two that I want to see in the near future. One is Vladimir's offering, amazing with Tiny, and the other is boots. I'm actually surprised that Ztok's been doing this well without having brown boots. He's been keeping up with the Tiny and positioning himself well in the fights. That's really darn hard to do with only 295 movement speed. Props to him. I guess if he can make it work, why not just go straight for the Vlads next?
Yeah, that's not something that you very easily notice either. Like, you assume that everyone has boots. Because there are very, very few heroes. I think Weaver's the only one where it's kind of more acceptable, but even then it's a little bit sketchy. Apparently Io is one too. I think that boots are just worth it on anyone, but that's just me and my old-fashioned thoughts about Dota, I suppose. In the new age, we don't get boots, but still UG, they're going to be positioning themselves for an aggressive play down the line. Have the Asha now back on Tiny, and well, these tier 2 towers should be free pickings for them, although it seems like they're going to wait for a couple more items. I don't really know what else you wait for aside from this Assault Cuirass. Now that it's done, they should be going.
I think the item that they're waiting for is probably Aegis, but although they might want that to push high ground, tier 2s I think they shouldn't be dissuaded for going for at all. They don't have buyback on their Tiny, is still 200 gold shy, but that's going to be remedied very shortly. Union Gaming, I think tier 2 should be the order of business, and Pain should probably not defend, as it's just too risky. Although they have the potential to take a really good fight, and if they find an angle, they might be able to jump. Actually, getting that angle is a different story entirely, as I doubt that Union Gaming are going to clump up enough to where a Black Hole and Death Ward combination would be enough to turn things.
Dalen's not even with the team yet. Pain are still in such an aggressive position right now. If they end up a fight right now, this could go well for Pain. But with Slark not really in the area, the fight is not going to happen right now. So Queen of Pain's going to find herself in position. Oh, okay, well, now she's going to find herself more in position. The cliff is not where we want to be, at least not now. But she's pushing the mid lane in the meantime. If UG can continue on with this game state, they'll get pretty far ahead pretty quickly, or even further ahead. But Nano's going to run to Slark. That's not a good way to start this fight.
No, definitely not. BKB popped by the axe. He's hardly taking any damage as the Io Tiny jump in and obliterate the Lion. The Death Ward combination with Black Hole is pretty good, but not that good as it gets silenced out by the Skywrath Mage. The BKB is still active on Tavo as they continue for this chase. The Sonic Wave over the sidelines kills the Zeus. They'll toss the axe up in the air, not the ideal target, and the Zeus ultimate's going to bring him down. Buyback from the Zeus in order to make that one happen. King RD going to drop low, ADR going to be able to pounce away. Stuck in trees, however, and now is going to get tossed up in the air and blows up on impact. Triple kill for the Queen of Pain, and although it isn't the cleanest of engagements for Union Gaming, it's a 2 for 4, and they force out the buyback from the Zeus too.
Yeah, so for Union Gaming, that's a pretty nice win, even after getting hit by a 3-man Black Hole, which is most of the time going to result in instant doom for the team getting Black Holed. The follow-up just wasn't there for Pain. It was, in theory, there with the Witch Doctor getting a channel off on his ultimate, but Skywrath Mage was not caught in the Black Hole. He had saved that Ancient Seal, and he was in the right place at the right time. UG also secured their gem still, even after Axe dies, so that was a pretty fantastic trade for UG. More gold, more experience for them. And hey, look at that. Roshan can respawn in just 20 seconds. That's such a convenient Roshan respawn timer here for UG. Yeah, maybe not super convenient because Benyaz is still kind of roughed up from the last fight, but he survived and now he's holding on to another 3,100 gold. Manta Style purchasable by him, and the only thing scarier than one Tiny is 3 Tinies. That's something that Pain really can't afford to deal with, especially if their Witch Doctor keeps on getting canceled out of his Death Ward channel. He needs to get this BKB up so badly. He's so much more important. It's basically just Witch Doctor and Enigma right now that are fighting for Pain.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, we saw the Slark try to focus down the axe, but his damage is abysmal. His only quote-unquote damage item is Shadow Blade, and although you get a little bit from BKB, SNOI, and Shadow Blade, it's like nothing compared to a Scotty or Basher, which he desperately needs to really contribute. They aren't going to go for Roshan just yet, whether they've not scouted it or otherwise. They're going to just look for the straight push with no BKB, or no Black Hole, excuse me. The BKB is up for Enigma. But with no Black Hole, defending this tier 2 is impossible. It's just going to get smacked down by Benyaz. With the minus armor coming out from the AC, he's going to just rip it apart.
No, and it's not going to be a Manta Style. It's going to be a Demon Edge item. There is no reason for an MKB, so that means Daedalus. Yeah, 370 a pop. Really quickly with crits. That's a lot of damage, man. And it's gonna get into like definitely 1-shot territory towards the Lion, but like 2-3-shot territory for everyone else on Pain. This is gonna be really difficult considering Tiny could lay in those 2 or 3 shots in just a matter of seconds once he's overcharged.
Nando looking for the Slark, goes for a blink call into the woods, but unfortunately for him, doesn't find it. He's going to be forced to blink out again. Union Gaming are now fighting against the full lineup of Pain, and the Black Hole is going to be up shortly, 5 seconds to be exact. Tavo is going to have that for the next fight. So maybe they won't feel as comfortable as they might have earlier, but it is actually going to be an MKB for Benyas. Okay. Although critting is wonderful, it's hard to knock MKB. It's never bad to have the item, but I really would have liked to see Daedalus. Mostly because I want to see people just get one shot, and by people, I mean poor Baga.
Yeah, usually, and by usually I mean all the time, you want a reason to pick up an MKB. It's if I have a Demon Edge in my inventory, I'm going to be going for Daedalus unless there's a reason to get MKB. And in this game, there is no reason. The Slark is nowhere close to anything resembling evasion. No one else on Pain has any sort of mischance or talisman of evasion or anything like that. So I really don't think that this is the correct build for Tiny. It gives them a little bit of attack speed. I guess that's something that Daedalus doesn't give you. But when you're overcharged, do you really care about your attack speed? Probably not. He's going to grab the Aegis, though, and it's still going to give him a truckload of damage. Like, he's so far ahead that he could buy a Dagon right now, and it'll still be okay for UG.
Yeah, I think so, too. And it really kind of shows in the net worth. He's almost like a full Dagon ahead of this Slark, and that kind of gives you a picture of where Union Gaming are at. He's going to start chunking away at this creep wave, and then immediately after is going to beat away at the tower. With an Aegis, even though he's taking a lot of damage from the Midnight Pulse, doesn't seem that he cares. Tier 3 tower is going to survive a little bit longer. They're going to pounce, but the pounce misses, and he's just going to be able to walk out of there. Although the tier 3 tower doesn't die outright, it's only 2 smacks of Tiny's great tree to bring that down. They'll have to wait for another set of creeps, but that's about it. They'll relocate back to base, refill up on mana and health, and come back in. They don't really need relocate for this fight, unless it was used defensively to get somebody out of the black hole, and although that would be wonderful utility, I don't think it's a bad choice per se to use it like this.
Yeah, UG can do this all day. Like, it's another minute until relocate is going to be back up. That's completely fine for them. Relocate back to the base as much as you want Union Gaming, because bottom lane is pushing in, and Pain have to deal with that, as well as this huge aggressive Tiny in the mid lane. So Pain, where's the black hole angle? It's non-existent. Best case scenario, you catch Tiny and Io, but then your black hole is most likely going to be punished by no follow-up.
Yeah, you have the Blink Scythe, the Blink Orchid to cancel a channeling of the Death Ward. Blink and Nando gonna go strong into ADR, and he's getting ripped apart by the Tiny, chopped down, and all the Death Ward is being channeled, and the Black Hole is there. That's only the Aegis. Nando and Dallin going to end up losing her lives, and eventually will fall. They have buybacks available. The Slark's going to join the fray, going strong into the Tiny. Where's his IO partner? He's not been tethered up this whole time, and Benyas is also going to die in a big turnaround for Pain, but the crucial part to note is that the melee barracks are down, and all 3 of these Union Gaming heroes have buyback.
Yeah, this is a victory for Pain, I suppose, but only in a very short term. Initiation under the Slark was good, however, the black hole there from Tavo was exactly what the Doctor ordered from Pain. The Death Ward was also being channeled, though it wasn't really the most efficient because the black hole ended up dragging the Union Gaming heroes away from the range of the Death Ward. That was fine because at that point they already had the fight won. The Scarth Mage couldn't get in there to cancel out that Death Ward, and it did do a little bit of damage before it stopped firing. So Pain, they might get a tier 2 off of this. Maybe if they're very lucky and UG feel a little bit greedy, they will get a tier 3 as well, but anything additional is just not going to happen. And UG still took the melee racks. That's really what they came to do. And though it costed them quite a few heroes, I think that's still a mission accomplished for UG, despite the fact that that fight did end up going sour, because that Slark was forced to buy back. He has Sanjin Yasha, Shadowblade, BKB, and not really anywhere close to anything else.
It's 40 minutes into the game, and honestly, Slark's damage output is pretty negligible, especially after the BKB wears off when you have to deal with Craggy of the Tiny. It really is feeling like Enigma and Witch Doctor are the heroes that matter. Zeus is also like not negligible when it comes to his damage output against a Tiny in particular because of Static Field. But even so, it really relies almost exclusively on getting a good Black Hole and a good Death Ward off. With the BKB on the Witch Doctor, this is going to be a lot easier, but even through BKB, they have an Axe Call that might be able to cancel it if Nando is patient, and I think they might want to play that way.
They have an Axe Call. They also have Queen of Pain's Burst. They can definitely work around this BKB in quite a convincing fashion, UG. It's going to require perfect positioning from Pain, and that last fight, though it did work out very well for Pain, is a difficult fight to replicate. It's pretty much all to UG to make a mistake at this point, and they're going to go up the top lane. Tier 2, that's a free bag of gold for Pain. Split push for Pain is pretty much not going to be split push at all, simply because they can't go past the river mark. they'll just try not to worry about their other two lanes while their top lane is being defended. But really, again, same as before, UG can park themselves right outside of the Pain's base, relocate anywhere they want to split push or heal or anything, and just slow roll this push as slow as they could possibly get it.
Yeah. And it would be a lot easier to do this with a Manta style in the Tiny, but if he wants it, he could end up picking that up, although he won't because he'll decide that buyback is more important. This tier 3 tower is getting chunked down. Tiny's not committing anything, and, well, although he drops a BKB charge, he two-shots the poor Lion. They're going to be able to blow up the Witch Doctor too, and there goes all of Pain's damage. Tavo getting chunked down. He's scythed. He can't even get the Coaling Blade off the axe, and now ADR's on the run. They don't have detection close by, I believe. The gem is not on the axe for the time being, but it doesn't matter. This is not megas, because there's still a ranged barracks in mid, but there's only a ranged barracks in mid. That's not going to last long. The next relocate, if they wanted to. Benyaz and Ztok could smack that one down if backdoor protection is disabled.
Well, they're going to relocate back to the base instead, so they're looking to end the game right now as they jump right back into the top lane with everything ready to go. Even though the Enigma just bought back, his Black Hole isn't really going to be doing anything because there's no Death Ward follow-up. ADR is going to get obliterated, and he just uses buyback. Fantastic Black Hole, but who cares? Like, actually no damage done, and now he's just dead.
Maybe Midnight Pulse? Gonna kill the IO? That's something, right? No, it's Gigi. Coming out from Pain Gaming as we round out the end of the South American Challenge. It's going to be Unique Gaming coming away with the victory in the finals here on HeflaTV HP1. To round everything out, I'm GrandSV. You can find me at GrandSV, and my co-caster, Mike Loris. He can be found at Mike Loris. Currently, HeflaTV is not really a thing anymore, but we're currently casting over at Gosu TV 1 on Twitch. If you want to follow us there, that's a good place if you can that you can see us casting. But if you just check out our personal Twitch accounts, we usually tweet out when we're available and when we're doing stuff. Congratulations to Union Gaming. They're going to find a nice bit of pocket change for this pretty small online tourney, but thanks for tuning in here. That'll round us out for the evening and probably for the rest of the next couple of days. And probably permanently on HeflaTV HP1, actually. I don't think we're doing anything here. So thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you on some future broadcasts. But for now, goodbye.
Later, guys.